Hello, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond. My name is Sil. Welcome back to episode 30. My God, I can't believe it's 30 episodes already of the OverAchievers Podcast, Armed and Dangerous. Now, joining me for this very special episode is the one who always joins me. He's my brother in arms for Souls-like. He's the one I don't keep at an arm's length. Please help me welcome John.
It's me, it's John. I'm back once again.
Funny you should mention once, John, because there's something a little special about this episode. Do you know what that is?
Is it that the
maybe why I've been mentioning
has one
arms.
arm?
It is because it only has one arm. And it is not the Nintendo game's arms.
Oh, I gotta delete some notes here.
So, yes, today I will actually be talking about Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and John will be taking the reins as today's host. With that being said, I will hand it off to John.
Sweet. So, I don't know. I'd like to give a little bit of backstory about my experience with the game.
Please do. We'll put some sad anime music over top of it.
Yes, so Sekiro is a game that I bought like day one when it came out because I love Dark Souls, and I was far too much expecting Dark Souls, and so I did not gel with Sekiro in the slightest. I tried to push through for a couple of hours, wasn't getting it. Cheated to get through the entire game, and I've only played 12 hours of the game, which I think is nothing compared to presumably what Taylor's going to talk about a bit later.
Okay.
And it came out in 2019, I think, that's right?
I think so, yeah. God, I'm old.
I know, right? This game is 5 years old now. This game is half a decade old.
Oh, I don't like that.
I know. But as time's gone on, and especially in 2024, I don't know when this episode's coming out.
It will be in 2024, I believe, in November.
Excellent. So especially this year, I've just had this hankering to go back to Sekiro, and I haven't been able to do it all year because I know it went very poorly the first time I tried to play it because I wasn't in the right mindset to play it, and so I haven't tried it again yet because I know I need to be in a mindset where I've got a lot of patience, a willingness to learn, and spend a lot of time with it. And I just haven't found that time yet. So I haven't gone back to it, but I still plan to. My vague hope was to have started going back to it before doing this podcast. Did not have a chance. So to make up for it, I watched the second place speedrun of the all achievements category of this game.
Nice. Unfortunately, not done by me. I was not the second place. I wish. That would be incredible.
I mean, you could technically be fourth place. There's only 3 people on the leaderboard.
You know what? Don't tempt me.
So yeah, that was my homework, was watching a 5.5 hour video of the speedrun for all achievements, so I could be at least somewhat familiar with the game again and the achievements, because I didn't want to try and co-host this with Taylor completely blind. I wanted to be able to give Taylor something to bounce off of, I guess.
And yeah, because I've quickly realized, especially since doing episode 10, me doing an episode by myself does not work. Where I don't have that, just even someone to bounce something off of and get some sort of reaction from, and it's so awkward.
Like completely by yourself, nobody else there?
Yeah, that was episode 10 where I talked about Mafias 1 and 2.
Right. Man, that must must be
episode 11, sorry, that was episode 11.
Oh, okay. Those must be really short episodes, right? Because
oh god, I think it was 40 minutes because I was by myself, but I was still talking about 2 games.
Okay, that's really long for a solo chat. But
yeah,
when the 2 of us are on here, we can waffle for ages and I don't know, not even go off topic that much, but we can, yeah, like I said, bounce off each other a bit more.
We can still fill that space, yeah.
Yeah.
Mafia 1 and 2, along with Mafia 3 from episode 2, way back in the day, will be returning at some point in the future, but I'll hint to that later on.
Ooh, exciting. Okay, so I gave my little bit of background. Obviously, you're going to be talking about Sekiro. Do you want to give any explanation or background of the game at all?
Yeah, sure. So Sekiro is, I would say, probably one of From Software's most divisive games because you had fans that either really loved it like myself or fans that kind of bounced off it and never really went back to it like John and Chris. Now, that is to say, this game I think is incredible, but it does require a certain level of skill and it requires you to play within its rule set. Now, its rule set is very different from Dark Souls, which were the primary, well, Dark Souls and Bloodborne especially, which were the primary games that had come from Software that had made them so popular before Sekiro's release. So going from those that were much more open-ended, that allowed you to play the way you want, to this very action-heavy, parrying, aggressive play style with very limited options with only one main weapon, was a big shift for a lot of people, and not everyone was on board for that, and I think that's perfectly reasonable.
Yeah.
I was gonna say more, but I think I'll talk about that in a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, I would agree. And like, I was so salty about Sekiro, like back in 2019, and like looking back now, like I was completely at fault. It's not the game's fault that it wasn't Dark Souls. I really should have been more aware of what it was going to be going in. I was just blindly like, this is FromSoft, they can't do any wrong. And then I was trying to dodge roll in every single combat encounter, and that's just not what you do in Sekiro for the most part. And so like, my lack of enjoyment for Sekiro was entirely down to me just being stubborn, and that's why I said a little bit ago that I need to make sure I'm in the right headspace and like frame of mind to properly try this game again, because I've watched a lot of it, I've seen a lot of it, and I really want to enjoy it. So I just need to be ready and willing to do it.
Yeah, I think that's really fair. I have my own experience in relation to that I'll get to in just a few minutes.
Okay, excellent. So let's start with, how many achievements does this game have?
So this one is interesting because most Dark Souls games have like 40, like low 40s.
Yeah.
Even almost cracking 50. But Sekiro only has 34.
Yeah, that's really low. But I mean, it's not a Souls-like. Like it's not a Souls-like at all.
No, it is a completely separate. It is a related genre in like the action game. Field. Like I mean, technically Dark Souls is an action game, but yet it is definitely not a Souls-like in its traditional sense.
Yeah, I think like Souls-likes and Sekiro both kind of broadly land in action RPG, but they are very, very different games, and yeah, I don't think Sekiro is a Souls-like in the slightest.
Agreed.
Okay, so was getting all achievements your first time playing the game, or had you played it before?
So this is what I want to talk about. This is what I've kind of been hinting at, is I, like John, tried this game out, but okay, to clear something up, whenever I play a Souls-like or a game similar to Souls, I don't change the controls. I will play with whatever controls it tells me to, whereas John, I know you like to change it to, what used to be Dark Souls, now Elden Ring controls, because it's familiar to you. And I think that's where we kind of differ and why I maybe had a better time with this game. But unfortunately, the first time I played it, I got absolutely destroyed by the first couple enemies. I'm like, nope, not doing it. I put it down right after picking it up, and I waited, oh god, I think it was like 6 months or something before trying it again. And for some reason, it's like when you fight a boss 100 times, and you keep dying, and you wake up the next day and you're able to do it first try.
Yeah.
After these 6 months, I went back to the game because I was like, I gotta play this. I paid money for it. I gotta do it. And it clicked. I don't know what, but it clicked. I was able to get the parries. I was like, man, this is the feeling. This is what I wanted. This is what the game wants you to do. And so technically, it was not my first time. And even after a while, like I played through the whole game and I was like, you know what? And I will get this out of the way now. I'm not the most proud of this. I did save scum, I think, 2 endings, only in the sense that you had to either have, it was kind of like Elden Ring, where you had to like have an item or a specific thing set before beating the final boss, and then you got a particular ending. So what I did was I made copies of the save file, got the thing I needed for the different endings, and then still beat the last boss for those endings. So I still fought the boss, I just didn't want to have to do an entire playthrough to get them. So if you feel listening to this episode, watching this video, that disqualifies me from having all achievements, that is completely understandable. But I just want to get that out of the way that I did save scum 2 of the endings that only really changed the cutscene. Didn't give me any additional bosses. The ones that did give me additional bosses, I did do a full playthrough for.
Okay, I was going to be very interested to find that out, and I guess we get to that in a later question. But like the speed run that I watched, it was little Aggie did it. It was very good. It goes like ending to ending to ending, so I think it finishes on like New Game Plus 3 or something like that. So yeah, I was watching that and I was like, wonder what Taylor did for it. So we'll find that out.
I don't remember if there was New Game Plus when I did it. If there was, I didn't use New Game Plus.
Oh, okay. So it's like Elden Ring or Dark Souls where you can get all the endings on different playthroughs.
Yeah.
Interesting. I wonder why you do it.
So
for
yeah,
the speedrun.
I didn't want to do New Game Plus because I was like, I don't know. For some reason, I was just okay. I know why, because one of the endings that I got, which was the Ashura ending, or Asura, depends on your pronunciation, is a shorter one. You can get it about 3/4 of the way through the game.
Right.
So I just kind of sped run that portion of the game and then got to that ending, which, in my opinion, was a lot easier than the other endings, because those involved fighting a different boss that I'll get to later.
Yeah, I mean, like, that ending is, by the any percent category, is like 22 minutes or something. You can get through it very, very quickly.
Yeah.
Okay, have you gone back to the game since you got all achievements?
Only to record some footage.
Have you got footage for it already?
So, I've got footage from when I did the soul searching video.
Oh,
and I'll
okay.
probably try it. If you're seeing footage of boss fights and I still haven't decided in this video, it's because I went back and you can refight certain bosses using their memories. So my gameplay will be terrible. I am very out of practice for this game, but I may go back and try to fight some of those bosses just to see how well I can do and remember how what I used to be able to do.
Yeah, that's what I was curious about, like, because I mean, obviously you probably got all achievements. Or like you said, you went back to it like 6 months after it came out, so like still 2019. Like
I think it was like, yeah, because it came out in March, so I think I came back to it in like somewhere around September, January. Or
Okay.
not January, sorry, September, October.
And like that's the session when you got all achievements?
No, I got I unlocked the getting all achievements on January 3rd of 2020.
Oh, okay. So, I mean, pretty much, like, yeah, 4 months later after you went back to it. So, yeah, having to go from January 2020 to, I don't know, like 4 years later to try and, like, get that muscle memory back must be so hard in this game.
Oh, yeah. It's gonna be rough.
Okay, very curious about this. How long did it take you to get all achievements?
So, obviously, my playtime is gonna be skewed because I did do the save scumming.
Right.
Oh, yeah. But it was a total of 51 hours regardless.
Okay, that's pretty reasonable. I feel like this game's, like, how long to beat or whatever must vary so insanely, because, like, not only do you have to play through the game and get all achievements, you have to learn this game. Like, there's not really any other game like it, or there wasn't at the time. You know, you had to come to grips with, this is not a Souls-like, this is like a rhythm action game. So, like, for people who learn that quickly, great, I'm sure their playtime will be lower. But for people who struggled and struggled and struggled, their playtime could be, like, massively different. So yeah, I feel like the range on how long to beat must be all over the place for this one.
Yeah, well, according to How Long to Beat, they polled about 1.1 thousand people, so not the most, but we've had smaller sample sizes.
Yeah, that's not bad.
Average is 71 hours, 48 minutes. Median is 67 hours, 50 minutes.
Okay.
Rushed is 50 hours, 24 minutes. And Leisure is 164 hours, 24 minutes.
Holy.
So take that for what you will.
So, like, average was, like, about 20 hours more than you. Do you think that about makes up? How many playthroughs did you skip?
Yeah, because subsequent playthroughs, especially in New Game Plus, because you don't have to do every boss, you could probably get through it pretty quickly, especially if you knew any of the speedrunning techniques.
Okay. So yeah, I think the actual speed run is like 4 hours 10 minutes or something.
Mm-hmm.
Which is crazy. Okay.
Yeah, like it's one of those games where the better you get at it, obviously the faster you'll be, but also the more easily you can handle different encounters and you understand, okay, I just have to do this, I can get around this guy, or I can do whatever.
Yeah, and like it's fascinating watching like speedruns or really good people play this game, because yeah, they especially like watching people play randomizers. Like they walk into a boss room, they don't know who's gonna be there, but like they know whatever boss it is, so they just like match the rhythm just like perfectly, and it's fascinating to watch.
Oh, it is a dance.
It is, yeah. It's I would love to be that good, and maybe one day I'll do it.
You can be, and I know you will be.
I feel like this might be like my like early January 2025 game, because like
okay,
especially like once we get to like the last half of the year, I'm like, I need to play new games because I have to talk about them at the end of the year, you know. But like as soon as 2025 hits, you know, like there's no new games to play. Like if I play a 2024 game, it's not going to matter for this year's list, so I can play whatever I want. So maybe it'll be Sekiro. We'll see.
There you go.
Maybe.
There you go.
Okay, let's get into the achievements for this one. What were the hardest and easiest achievements?
So I took out any of the achievements that were like, oh, you know, get your first prosthetic tool, get your first healing gourd.
Right.
But so a lot of the other achievements are just boss focused. It's not a lot of collection rewards or anything like that. So I will say the easiest achievement in, you know, terms of the bosses that give achievements was, and I will insert the audio clip here, Gyobo Masataka Oniwa, one of my favorite bosses of all time, and I don't know why, just the charisma exuding from this man to just yell out his name, come charging through. And to this day, I still don't know why the hell he's so giant in comparison to your character.
Yeah.
Because like every other human is like regular human sized, including you, except for this dude who's just massive.
Except for the drunkards. The drunkards are like twice as tall as you. The drunkards are very big, yes. Yeah, maybe he's a drunkard.
Maybe. He was a former bandit.
Okay. That's the easiest achievement?
Yeah. Out of the bosses, yeah.
That's wild, because like, he's like the second boss you fight. I think that's right.
Oh god, I can't remember. No, I think he's the third.
I guess there's like a tutorial boss, kind of like before the Chained Ogre.
Yeah, there's tutorial. Chained Ogre's technically optional. There's the bull fight.
Bull's after Yobu.
Is it? Oh god, I can't remember anymore.
This is why I watch the speedrun. I know some things now.
Fair. Yeah, it's been a while.
But yeah, like I always see people saying that like Gyobu is like the first like real test of Sekiro. Like it's where you really put into play the skills you've picked up in the first couple of hours, and like it's a real sink or swim moment. If you can't learn the parrying and everything with this fight, there's no point going past him because you're going to struggle with the rest of the game. So I'm surprised to hear you say it was the easiest one.
He's technically the first boss achievement too, like the first boss that gives an achievement. Like I found him easier than Lady Butterfly because Lady Butterfly is much more involved with using the snap mechanic to get rid of her illusions.
Right.
Whereas Gyobu, you just have to learn to parry, grapple, and go for it. Like there is no mechanical complexities outside of those two basic mechanics. You parry, you grapple, you stab, you run.
Yeah, there's no gimmicks, no consumables at this point in the game. You just parry.
Yeah,
okay, yeah, you know what? That checks out, actually.
There are no men, no gods, just parry.
Just parry. Okay, yeah, you know what? That does make sense.
Also, I whoever plays this in English dub, how do you do it? They need the Japanese voices because I love that man so much. And just again, the sheer charisma, the sheer force behind his announcement and just barging through those gates is incredible.
Can I recommend the Spanish dub?
Ooh, I haven't heard the Spanish dub.
So he just comes barreling in. He's like, Mi amo Gyobu Masataka Oniwa. It's so good, and like that's the dub that Aggie uses. So like that's
because it's faster, right?
And it's funnier.
Fair. Oh no, yeah, because he plays. Wasn't it Italian that's like the fastest subbed language, but then
maybe
dubbed is he just plays in Spanish because it's funny.
Yeah, exactly, because it's funny, and like if you're playing over and over, you want to hear some good lines. So
yeah.
So the Spanish one was funny. So yeah, I like his intro in Spanish.
I will look it up. I will include it in the video at some point.
Okay.
I'll include both the Japanese and the Spanish, not the English. The English doesn't deserve to be there. No offense to the English voice actor. I'm sure he did a fantastic job. But that Japanese voice actor, he sold his soul for that performance.
Honestly, the English one did too. He goes pretty hard. Like
he does go pretty hard, and I think it's because it's just hearing it in English. It's like it's not. It takes me out of that experience of being in like this Japanese battlefield.
Yes, yeah, that's fair.
Like I just picture some dude named Steve wearing some samurai armor, having like the whitest skin.
Yeah,
and it's just like no.
Yeah, I think, I mean, yeah, when I replay it, it'll be in Japanese.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, like, the other, like, most famous line I can think of is, Roberto!
Oh, that guy. Oh, I love that guy.
And, like, I can't think what that would be in English. Does he just go, like, Robert?
Yeah, he does just say, Robert!
Damn it, yeah, I mean, Roberto is so much cooler.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot about that guy. I love that guy.
Great guy, yeah. Okay, hardest achievement then.
Hardest achievement was certainly Man with No Equal, which is defeating all bosses.
Okay, yeah, that checks out. Is that when do you get that then? Is that like after all playthroughs or something?
Hang on, let me double check when I unlocked that one because I'm trying to remember now. Hang on. Man with No Equal. So yeah, you have to do all endings because. Okay, so one of the endings has you fighting a specific boss that I'll get to. The other one has you fighting a different version of that same boss.
Okay, right, yeah, this is something I'm not like.
So okay,
totally
the boss in question is Ishin Ashina.
Yeah.
The Sword Saint. So in the Azura ending, the Ashura ending that I've already talked about, you fight like the old man form of him. In the other three endings, you fight a reborn, younger version of him that bursts out of his grandson's body. It's very weird. And that I will get to that fight later because that fight is a masterpiece.
Okay, so I think it's like the Shura ending you fight like just Ishin on top of the tower, right?
Yes.
And then the other ones you fight Sword Saint in like that field where you die in the tutorial. Okay. God, you have to fight him
it's
three
very
times
cinematic.
there?
He's a 3-stage boss fight.
Oh, okay. So you don't have to like he's got 3 like posture bars or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and
you have to fight him on
he
3 of the endings? Is that what you said?
Yeah. So to get 3 of the endings, you have to fight him there.
Oh my god, I thought you only had to do him once.
No, it's not like Elden Ring where you fight and then you get to pick your ending. It's you have to set up the ending beforehand, fight him, and then you'll get that particular ending.
Right. I just thought Sword Saint was like the hardest boss, so like he was only in one of the endings.
No, he is he is a major roadblock.
Oh Jesus. Was he I don't think we get to this like in a later question, but feel free to leave it for later if you want to. But was he the hardest boss for you?
Yes, he absolutely was the hardest boss.
But yeah, I guess that makes sense. How did Demon of Hatred compare?
Okay, so here's the thing. Demon of Hatred requires, again, a very different skill set because you have to use specific items and tools with him.
Ooh,
you don't have to with Ishin because... So it's the way I look at Gyobu and Lady Butterfly. Lady Butterfly, much like Demon of Hatred, you have to use specific shinobi tools to kind of stun them, kind of like the shackles in Elden Ring.
Right.
And then when you use those shackles, it becomes a much easier fight. That is the intended method.
Oh,
whereas with Gyobu and with Sword Saint, you can kind of do it the way you want to. With Gyobu, you don't have the tools. With Sword Saint, you do have the tools, but it's just meant to be an all-around challenge and test of your skills to see how well you can do.
Okay. Like, all you really need is, like, Mikiri, I guess.
Mikiri, yeah. Realistically, all you need is Mikiri.
And the lightning counter?
Skills... Yes, you need the lightning counter, but that's a story-related thing, so you need that anyway.
Right, okay.
So as long as you have lightning counter Makiri, you technically don't even need the skills.
Okay.
Well,
I guess
that's one thing I probably
draw.
should have mentioned is Sekiro does have a skill tree, unlike a traditional Souls game.
Yeah.
That gives you access to more abilities than you would have because you only have the katana as your primary weapon.
Right. Yeah, it's man, I was hoping I could find like a really like beginner friendly guide, like what do you level at like each point, and I haven't been able to find anything, so like I don't know what I'm gonna do when I go back to it.
I can look at the skill tree and I can give you my personal recommendation as to like what I used and what I found effective versus what I didn't.
Okay. 'Cause I think like trying to do it blind is just gonna backfire, and
Oh yeah, you're gonna hate it. You're gonna
Yeah.
hate it so much.
I'll see if I can find like some kind of guide or something, but otherwise I'll be checking in with you.
I will be recommending a guide later on. Don't worry.
Okay, great. Okay, so outside of those two achievements, what were the most and least fun?
So the least fun was by far the folding screen monkeys.
Such a
To
dumb
hell
boss.
with those monkeys.
Oh, yeah, it's
So-
dumb.
The monkeys are a classic play on the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil, do no evil. Where you have to, it's an environmental boss fight where you can stun the monkeys by doing specific things, whether it's opening a window to ring a bell so that the monkey who can hear you can't hear you sneak up on him and then you can assassinate him. You can blind the one that can see you from really far. There was something to get the one for speaking. Then there's one that from where you start the boss fight, there is one that spawns in right behind you that you don't know about. If you don't know he's there, he will move to another spot and then you're left chasing him.
Right. Oh, so he doesn't
you have to
follow
hit-
you, he moves.
No, he moves.
Oh, okay.
So if you kill him first, it's a much easier fight. But it's still running around chasing these monkeys that are invisible until you get close enough. And then when you are close enough to see them, they run away again.
Right.
And it's such a pain trying to follow these stupid things.
And then you look it up afterwards, you're like, what am I doing wrong? And it's like, hey, there's a fourth monkey right behind you when you spawn in. Lol.
He's not even the pain in the ass. It's the other ones that suck.
Yeah. No, he's
Because
easy
if
once
you
you
don't
know.
reach them, yeah, and if you don't reach the other ones in time, they're just gone. And
Yeah.
yes, they have set patterns,
Right.
but it's a pain to just follow those patterns.
Yeah, I remember that being a really annoying fight. And like it's obviously very scripted in speedruns, but yeah, for like a casual playthrough, really annoying.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense for least fun. Like you said, right? Like, sorry, out of the 36 in total,
34.
34. How many are boss achievements? Do you know?
Oh, hang on. Let me count here.
Because like we might not have that many other ones to. I guess
All right,
most.
so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. I think only 14 boss achievements technically.
Okay, so that's like just below half,
Yeah.
pretty much. And
Yeah, a
then
little below, because 17 would be half.
yeah, and then there's like 4 ending achievements. So yeah, you
Yep.
don't have like a ton of achievements to choose from for most and least fun, really.
No, because I know some of the other ones, the miscellaneous, are like, oh, fully upgrade a tool, or fully upgrade your shinobi skills, or get all the prosthetic tools.
Yeah,
Like but they're not nearly as annoying as like the Elden Ring collection achievements.
right. Okay, so what was the most fun?
By far, Sword Saint Ishin Ashina. He is
Okay.
the hardest fight, and this, I'm not gonna lie, this is probably my favorite From Software boss of all time, because of just how much I felt it tested my skills and the fact that I actually felt I could overcome that challenge.
Yeah, I mean, it must be so satisfying to get it.
Oh, just getting the parries off, getting the counters, and just taking him down. Like, I was shaking the first time I did it. Like, it was intense, and it is such a cinematic fight. It is gorgeous. And
Yeah.
I think what really gets me about Sekiro, and I've talked about this more than once, is it's the only From Software game that I've played that was designed purely for single player. Any, like Bloodborne, Elden Ring, Dark Souls can all be played single player, but they have the option for that co-op, that multiplayer, which invariably changes up what you can design the bosses to do. You have to give them the option to be playable in multiplayer, which means you have to make a skill set that works in both single player and multiplayer, and that's not easy. You can't effectively do that for as many bosses they've put in this game or the other Souls games. And this game being only single player, only katana, they could account for what the player was able to do and really hone in and craft that, in my opinion, perfect experience. This, I hate to say it, might be my favorite From Software game of all time because of just how finely tuned it was for that experience that they were able to focus on.
That's totally fair. I mean, like, even if something like Elden Ring was completely single player, there's what, like 30 weapon classes and types or something? Like, you know, some bosses are going to be a pushover with certain weapons and some are going to be impossible with certain weapons, but like you said, Sekiro is entirely balanced around just you, one weapon. You know, that they're going to be very, very finely tuned.
You also don't have different damage types. Like, you know, with Elden Ring, you've got magic, you've got poison, you've got holy, you've got fire damage. Like, all of these things where you want to make some bosses weak to them, but then you have to have other bosses that are resistant to them, and you can just get completely stonewalled.
Yeah.
But with Sekiro, yes, there are prosthetics that will make a certain boss easier and ones that are more effective, but I never got that impression that I was being stonewalled based on my choice of prosthetic tools.
Right. And like, how easy are those to swap out?
Oh, you can just go to the hub world, click this, click that, you're done.
So yeah, it's like you're never gonna be stuck in Sekiro. Like, due to the game, I guess you can be stuck.
Yeah, you'll be stuck based on your own skill, but at that point, it is your own skill. It's not just you know, you made the wrong choice in how you spec out for this one boss, so therefore you're gonna suffer.
Yeah, it's like one of my Elden Ring characters was a paladin, and it was like really fun all the way through until I got to Millennia, and that was just a stonewall for me. But like, yeah, you're not going to get that in Sekiro apart from your own skill level, which you'll presumably just keep pushing higher and higher as you get through the game.
Yeah, I mean, I would hope so. I don't know how you got through otherwise.
Cheats, that's how I did it.
Fair. Drugs. Don't do drugs, kids.
No. Use Cheat Engine.
Sure. Use Game Shark.
Use Game Shark. I wiped all my achievements at the start of this year, actually, because I was like, I'm going to properly try this again.
Okay,
so I've got 12 hours in the game without a single achievement.
Nice.
Okay, what's the rarest achievement?
Okay, so this one is interesting because I don't agree with it. So outside of obviously getting all achievements, which is at a surprising 9.4%.
Wow, that's really high.
The next one down is 13.1%, which is Master of the Prosthetic, which is upgraded all prosthetic tools to their limit. Now, I understand that, you know, you can acquire all the prosthetic tools pretty easily, but upgrading them, you just got to find the right material. Like, it's not Titanite, it's different things like that. But I didn't find those that annoying. Granted, I was using a guide to find all the collectibles and stuff that I'll talk about in just a little bit. I do think the one just below it, which is at a 13.8, so slightly, you know, less, is Height of Technique, which is acquire all the skills.
Okay.
Which just means you got enough XP, you leveled up enough to buy all of the different skills. I actually, by the time, and because I didn't do New Game Plus, had gotten all of my endings, did not have all the skills, so I just went back and farmed a certain enemy like 100, 200 times because he was the highest, gave me the highest XP, to just purchase the last few skills.
Interesting. Do you think you would have got there?
If I did New Game Plus, absolutely.
Okay. Because, this is a really interesting part that I learned when I was watching the speedrun.
Yeah.
It's the speedrun, Aggie's speedrun was 4 hours 15. And by 3 hours 15, he'd got all achievements except for the two you just mentioned.
Yep.
And so the last hour of this speedrun is farming for materials to upgrade the prosthetic tools and then grinding this one enemy for the experience to level up.
Was it the like one-armed Shadow Shinobi guy that he like snuck around the corner to assassinate?
No, there's a better farming spot apparently.
Oh.
It's at like Sempo Temple,
Okay.
and there's like this chained ogre, and you basically like jump onto the rafters above him.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
And the chained ogre rushes in and aggroes these two like red guards or whatever and kills them, and you warp back and just repeat that over and over and over.
Okay, yep. Yeah, I remember that method. Okay.
So that's literally the last 50 minutes of the speedrun is just doing this run back over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, man.
And like I said, it's really funny. Like, I unlocked Master of the Prosthetic on January 1st of 2020. Like, literally New Year's Day. I unlocked Height of Technique on January 3rd. That was the last achievement I needed.
Oh my god, so it basically took you 2 days just to
I mean,
grind
I
for
wasn't
the
grinding out for the full 2 days, but
No.
like it took that time. And over those 2 days, I was able to get enough to finally unlock that achievement.
That's wild.
So I mean, I think either of these are pretty. I guess I could see Master of Prosthetic because you have to look for all of those materials, whereas Height of Technique you can just grind for it.
Yeah.
But so I think either one would be fine. But I do think Height of Technique is a little harder because Master of Prosthetic, you can, as long as you know where the items are, you can just get them on your way by.
Yes. Yeah. Especially if you're not doing a speed run, you're doing a casual playthrough, you'll be poking around to pick up every shiny pretty much. So you'll probably have pretty close to all the items by the end of a playthrough.
Yeah.
So the getting all skills one, because you didn't do New Game Plus at all, you had to do this like all on one character in like one new game cycle, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Because I guess like your skills and like level carry over to New Game Plus, but you didn't.
I think
get
so. Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Correct.
Okay. I see.
Wait, I think there's only 3. No. Oh no, there's 4 endings. So sorry, I'm looking at my achievement list. Like, hang on, there's 4 endings. Yeah.
Okay. What was the most memorable achievement for you?
Okay, so this one, I would love to just say Sword Saint Ashina because that is basically what made it the most memorable. But I will say, it was my first ending that I ever got, which was Immortal Severance.
I think that's a cool one.
It is a very cool one, especially the techniques you get around, like the techniques you get for going towards the ending. The Mortal Draw. Oh, it's so good.
Hell
It's
yeah.
so good.
Oh, you don't get that on every.
You do. It's just like you don't have to put skill points into it, and some people don't use it. But like, I love it so much.
It's so good. It looks awesome.
It is. And I think because that was the first thing I ever went for, that was the first time I beat Ashina, I was like, oh, like that was when I had, as the kids might say, the game sent me. Like it was, I had ascended.
God, you're so young.
And it was just, it was such an incredible feeling that it inspired me to go back to the Dark Souls games and get all achievements. Like this for me was the catalyst.
Wait, really?
Yeah, I'm not kidding.
I didn't know that.
Like, I wanted to do all achievements in the Dark Souls games, but like, this to me was the motivator. When I got this, I was like, I must have more. I need more. And this started that high. It was an encouraging factor.
Okay. Amazing.
But like, oh, this was an incredible experience. And I swear to God, if From Software ever comes out with a game like this again, I don't pre-order. I hate pre-orders. I'm vehemently against them. I may genuinely pre-order it if it was a game like this. Not Sekiro 2. No. It needs to be a separate game. I don't care what. I don't care if it's sci-fi. I don't care what setting it's in. It needs to be a separate game, though, designed around single player and just as dialed in.
Okay.
But I don't want a sequel to Sekiro.
Ninja
Sekiro's
Blade
story
2.
has been told. Maybe.
They'd probably do okay now, honestly.
Yeah, they could. A Ninja Blade remake, even. Oh god, please, Ninja Blade remake.
That would be so funny.
You could maybe argue that this was like the Ninja Blade's spiritual successor.
Yeah, I guess.
Because, it's Shinobi, it's all that kind of stuff, but I would love genuinely a Ninja Blade remake or remaster with actual achievements.
That'd be pretty cool, actually.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, keep going. I don't want to go down the Ninja Blade rabbit hole right
No.
now.
Not again. I feel like we bring it up a fair bit.
We need From Software needs to remake Kingsfield and Ninja Blade.
Oh my god, Kingsfield remake.
and needs to release Bloodborne on PC officially. Along with Demon Souls. None of this Bloodborne on emulator.
By the time this episode comes out, it'll probably be like completely playable on PC.
New series?
Ooh, I don't know how multiplayer would work.
I mean, if they could make their own multiplayer servers for Demon Souls, they could probably do it for Bloodborne.
Yeah, I think someone probably will. Once it's like fully working on PC. Hey, maybe by the time this one comes out, they'll also have that working.
Oh, let's go.
Oh, can't wait. Can't wait to play Bloodborne again and not throw up.
Yeah.
Okay, are there any achievements you would remove from the game?
Thankfully, no, because there doesn't seem to be any like fluff or chaff here that you might find in some of the other Souls games, and doing everything here isn't nearly as frustrating as it is in the Souls games.
Okay, and yeah, there's only 34. Like, that's pretty minimal.
They were dialed in terms of gameplay and achievements.
Yeah. Is there an action or way of playing that you think there should be an official achievement for?
Man, I thought about this one, and like part of me wants to say yes. When you're fighting, I think it's... Hang on, I gotta look up the name, because I had the name and I forgot it.
Chained Ogre, I know. Tough boss.
No. There was one like kind of minor boss.
I think there's quite a few minor bosses. Snake Eyes. Centipede Giraffe.
No. Yes, Centipede.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Well, the giraffe that attacks you like 12 times in a row.
Yes, because okay, so for those of you who don't know, there's this like think like a drug addict Wolverine.
Yes.
I'll put a picture on screen of what it looks like. It's a long-armed centipede.
Isn't it giraffe? Am I crazy?
There's a second one. There's centipede and giraffe. There's two of them.
Okay.
But this was there's long-armed centipede and there's long-armed centipede giraffe.
Okay.
There's two of them. And these guys are on all fours, but they've got like Wolverine claws, which is why I said that. And like they will continue slashing at you, so you have to parry them quite literally like 12 times in a row. And like to me, that was the first time I'd ever been pushed to parry that many times. When I got it, I was like, oh, this feels so good. Because like it was just parry, okay, attack. Like it was whole. And I don't know what I would call this achievement, but like I feel like maybe just clang, like just the sound of the parry.
Clang.
Because like that to me was incredible, and it always stuck out as like, this is great. What the hell is this? And just because I never thought I would be able to do that. It's one of those things you watch like a Facebook video like where they posted some cool trick shot or like a cool thing, and like I could never do that. But then you actually do it, and you're like, hang on, what?
Yeah, especially when you like perfectly deflect like all. Literally like 12 attacks, and then you get to attack yourself. It's like, damn, I feel like a badass.
Yeah, no, it was incredible. So yeah, absolutely, that deserves its own achievement.
Okay, I like that. Are you able to soft lock yourself out of any achievements?
Technically, just out of some of the ending ones, like if you do or don't do certain things, you're kind of locked into your ending.
Okay.
That just requires either save scumming or New Game Plus.
Right. Can you get locked in, like, decently early? Because, like you said, I think it was, like, the Shura ending is, like, fairly early in the game.
You can get locked in around the halfway mark. Like, it's all the same up until the halfway point, at which point you can start making decisions about fighting or not fighting certain bosses, getting certain items, or doing actions that will dictate what ending you receive.
Okay. Speaking of endings, how many times do you need to play the game? Is it just the 4 times?
Yeah, technically 4.
I guess 4 and a bit of grinding if you need to.
Yeah, but I mean, if you do New Game Plus, it should be totally fine.
Right. So do you think that's the recommended way of going for all achievements, is going through all the New Game Plus cycles?
Yeah, part of me wants to say no, but because I haven't done it, so I don't know how difficult the bosses become at that point.
They look hard.
That's fair. So I don't know what Because I know, like, with, say, Dark Souls, the bosses just get more difficult, a little more health, do a bit more damage.
Yeah.
But I don't know just how well it's balanced in New Game Plus. I would imagine it's not too bad.
Okay.
At least I would hope so.
I
would say...
No, I feel like I would probably do your way.
Yeah, I mean, save scumming is always an option, but I would feel like I would say for the Shura ending, just, like, have that be on its own thing.
Okay.
And then even just New Game Plus from the Shura ending, where you got the quickest ending, you have some skills, but you're not, like, completely full yet.
Right.
And then you can go for some of the longer endings.
Okay. Does the game reward you for getting all achievements?
It does reward you for beating the bosses, because it unlocks, like, additional refights, but technically you don't get anything for getting the achievements as a whole.
Okay, yeah, that's pretty standard, it feels like.
Mm-hmm.
What about the achievements? Do they feel rewarding?
Absolutely. Like, the bosses feel great. Nothing here feels like it's undeserved. Nothing feels like I went outside of, like, the grinding bits, but nothing feels bad.
Okay, and like, I love that that's an option.
Mm-hmm.
Like, oh, you didn't get enough experience during all your playthroughs to get this achievement? Just go grind for a bit. It's, you can do it if you want to.
Yeah, but you don't have to. Like, nothing feels forced, nothing feels bad about it. It's so much better.
Do you think that the devs cared about these achievements?
Absolutely, because I think what it was too with this one is the devs got to just say, okay, we want to do the boss fights, we want to do a little bit of collecting, like just to upgrade yourself, and that's it. And that meant that they could just really focus in and craft amazing boss fights that led to great achievements.
And this is bizarre coming from the people who made Dark Souls achievements.
Yeah, no, it. I don't know who. Actually, hang on. I want to look up who the game director was.
Was it not Miyazaki?
I think so it was Miyazaki.
Okay.
So I don't know what changed around Sekiro, like, that was so different from the other Souls games.
I guess it's just like that different a game, really.
Yeah, and honestly, I love the Souls games. I really do.
Yeah.
But I think I wouldn't be able to appreciate this game as much without the Souls games.
Yeah.
But if I could get, like, for every 3 Souls games, one of this, I would be ecstatic. I would be over the moon.
Yeah, just
now I don't know if that is like Armored Core. If Armored Core is like this, I'm just not really into mechs per se. So yeah, if they're doing that, and like if Armored Core is like this, good on you From Software. I'll support you. I may not buy Armored Core, but I'll wait for the next one.
Yeah, I tried it and bounced off it very, very quickly.
All right then.
But I did with Sekiro too, so who knows? But I
fair.
hate mechs as well, so I knew it wasn't going to be for me.
And I feel like, saying that, I feel like Armored Core also falls into like the Dark Souls category of you can change out your loadout, you can change so many things of how you play.
Yes, yeah, you can customize like completely.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I wonder what they're doing next.
Yeah, I have no idea.
I feel like, since what, since the start of 2022, we've pretty much just been waiting for Shadow of the Erdtree.
And now that that's out.
And like they said that's all the DLC they're doing for Elden Ring, like what on earth are they doing now?
I have a sinking feeling Miyazaki was like, I'm happy, I'm retiring on a good note, I'm not going to let my reputation go down.
So that leads way for Tanimura to come back. I only see this as a win.
Oh god.
Dark Souls 2 too.
You know what?
Let's go.
You know what? I think if Tanimura was allowed to make the game that he had decided on without the interference, interference is the wrong word, without the changes and without the redirection,
yeah,
it would be a much different, I don't know if it would be better or worse experience, but definitely a more complete experience.
Yes, I agree.
So I'd be willing to see how that played out.
Yeah, I'd love Tanimura to get another go, honestly. As a big
maybe
old
not as
PS2
the whole
apologist.
director of From Software.
No, maybe not.
But like give him reins over a game to see what happens.
Yeah, I agree. Dark Souls 22.
Oh god.
Okay, so back to Sekiro. Do the achievements require you to get 100% in the game?
Technically, yes. Outside of doing the rematches, because you have to upgrade all the stuff, you have to get all the skills, you have to fight all the bosses. So as far as there is to do, yes.
Okay, there's no bosses you can skip at all?
Well, okay, you can skip the you can skip the optional bosses. What am I saying? So you can skip some of the mini bosses, some of the other stuff.
Okay.
From that perspective, no, I'm just losing my mind.
But I mean, yeah, like you said, you're getting all skills, you're getting all upgrades. It's pretty close to 100%. But yeah, I think
so you might as well.
Mm-hmm. Do the achievements feel unique in the genre? I'm not quite sure how you're gonna define this genre.
I would say the action hack and slash genre.
Okay, sure.
From that perspective, no. It's boss fight achievements, which is very fair.
It's boss fights and endings.
Yeah, I don't feel like you could really get super creative.
No, I mean, they've got a couple, use lapis lazuli to upgrade any tool to its limit. I mean, I guess it's just upgrade materials, really. Yeah, no, there's nothing really that unique.
There's not a lot of room to make them unique without getting really complex with certain mechanics, I feel like, and
yeah,
that just kind of seems like it would take away from the experience.
Yeah, that's fair. So you mentioned that you did use a guide for all achievements?
I did. I used the Fightin' Cowboy All Collectibles playlist.
Oh,
so
interesting.
I will link that down below.
Just a big old YouTube playlist?
Yeah, just because he gets all the collectibles, he gets all the stuff, so it was easy enough to figure out, okay. I also used his videos to see what order I should do some of the mini bosses in.
Oh,
so
okay. Yeah.
When can I effectively take on this one, or should I hold off and try to do a different one?
Right. Yeah, that's a good idea. Yeah, I think in my first playthrough, I was just bashing my head against this boss that's designed entirely around Makiri counter, and I didn't have Makiri counter yet. I was like, why can't I do this fucking boss?
Yep.
So yeah, that's a good idea. That's kind of what I'm looking for. Should I be going to this area first, killing this boss, getting this upgrade, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I would absolutely recommend Fightin' Cowboy.
Okay.
He's got decent commentary, and I started I started watching his channel, is a more appropriate wording there. When I was doing Code Vein.
Oh, okay.
So I started watching his build videos, and from there I started when Sekiro came out, he was like, hey, because he does a lot of collectible series and stuff. And so I was like, okay, hang on. But yeah, he was very, very well informed, very helpful when doing this playthrough.
Okay, good to know. No text guides or anything this time.
I don't usually use text guides. I much prefer video guides.
Oh, interesting. I'm very much the opposite.
I'm very visual. I need to see it.
Okay.
If I will use a text guide and I can kind of figure it out, but it's so much easier if I can see what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah, especially for collectibles. Yeah, that makes sense. Has Gun for All achievements changed the way you look at the game?
It's made me love it more. There's no question about that. There's nothing that I have to go out of my way to do. There's nothing that felt super tedious or that I was like, oh, I don't want to be doing this.
Yeah, I feel like once you've beaten Sword Saint Ishin on your first ending, it can kind of only go up from there. You've mastered the game at that point. It can only feel better from that point on.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm the kind of guy to do all the side quests, fight all the mini bosses before the main boss, and there are some fantastic mini bosses.
Yeah.
And it allowed for a lot of experimentation. I could figure out what prosthetic tools I liked. I think if I remember correctly, I was primarily axe for damage and breaking shields, and oh god,
Firecracker.
Either firecracker or poison. I couldn't remember.
Oh, okay. Ooh, poison.
Yeah, the poison blade.
Okay, that sounds pretty neat.
The Kusabi Maru.
Sorry, I'm only familiar with speedrun tech. It's all firecrackers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Firecrackers
I never
Mortal
really used
Draw.
the umbrella shield.
Okay. Yeah, who
So
needs
that
a
was
shield?
interesting.
You deflect. You don't need a shield.
Yeah. So yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, we never really came across this. One of the endings, I think it's the return ending, is meant to be very, very obscure and like probably impossible to work out on your own.
Oh, the resurrection ending?
Maybe
No.
it's that one. No, I'm sure it was Return. One of them involves like pulling a guy with a kite in order to get to a certain part of the game. Do you remember like any of the endings being, or like one of the endings being far and above the other ones in terms of difficulty and complexity? You have to get like rice and persimmon.
Oh yeah, okay, I do remember this one. Yes,
It's like a
yes,
bunch
yes,
of
yes,
lore
yes.
stuff.
Yeah, okay, yeah, because was this the only one that requires you to fight the dragon? No.
No, I'm sure you do that on Immortal Severance as well.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
But yes, I remember this one because Kuro was like, "Hey, you need to get this and this
Yeah.
and this."
And like you
but yeah, that
constantly go
one-
back to him.
Yeah, and because he'll tell you what you need to set up this ritual. And so, like
Yes.
I think this was the last one I did out of the regular endings. So I did Immortal Severance, then Purification, then Dragon's Return, then Shura.
Okay.
Because of just the increasing complexity between them.
Yeah. Yeah, I just took a look at the guide and it's like it's like 10 times as many steps as like Immortal Severance.
Yeah, it's
It's-
just because like you gotta go to certain places, get certain items. I think it requires a mini boss or two you don't
Okay.
normally fight.
Okay, yeah, I just remember like in the speed run I was watching, like that was a tricky part of the run, and like lots of people in the comments were, or in like the chat were talking about like how would you ever figure this out on your own kind of thing. So I was just wondering if that stuck with you at all.
You know what I think it was? Is because I was already watching Cowboys guides, I didn't think about how I would do this on my own.
Right. It didn't really
I was
stick
just kind
out.
of, I was just like, oh, do this, okay. I was
Yeah.
I was just on the train.
Okay, I mean, yeah, that makes sense. Like, pretty much anything after your first playthrough is just like, okay, what do I have to do to get this next ending kind of thing.
Mm-hmm. And like the endings were cool, and they were a lot more satisfying than Code Vein, thank God.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was kind of an autopilot thing there.
Okay. Yeah, fair enough. I just that was another thing that stuck in my head in my research of watching a 5-hour-long video.
Fair.
Okay, last question. Would you recommend other people go for all achievements?
Absolutely, yes, 100%. If you like, action hack and slash games, don't yes, if you like Souls games, you might appreciate it, but you can't go into it assuming it's a Souls game. Like
No.
that's the wrong. And I mean, you learn that from experience. I learned that from experience.
Yeah, definitely.
If you're a diehard Souls fan, if that's the only way you like to play, that's totally fine. You might not enjoy this game as much, but like it's very much a case of it's a fantastic game if you're willing to play by its rules, and it doesn't ask you to do a whole lot of extra stuff, unlike the Dark Souls games.
Right. Yeah, I mean, just looking at like the completion rate of some of these achievements kind of makes me think like it's not too bad. Like you said, like 9.4% of people. I mean, that's almost a tenth of players have got all achievements. Like that's decently high for considering some of the games we've looked at.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say like Dark Souls is usually like 3% or less. So like, yeah, it looks doable.
And I do think Sekiro had a much smaller player base, but I don't think that would. I mean, yes, that would change some things, but I don't think it would change them so drastically to the point where I would say, like it's not worth it, or not a lot of people have gotten them.
Right.
It is, again, an incredible game with incredible boss fights, incredible mechanics, and it genuinely may be one of my favorite games of all time. I'm not even maybe, it is one of my favorite games of all time.
Yeah, I'm not surprised to hear that. I know you love this game.
And I get that you and Chris bounced off it, and I understand why, because I was very much the same in the beginning.
I wish I wish I hadn't bounced off it because I had so much more time to learn it back then, and like that's the real sticking point for me now is like I have the willingness to learn it, I just don't have the time to dedicate like weeks of learning to this game.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I wish I had
honestly,
bounced
I don't
off
think
it
it'll
so
take you
fast.
weeks. Like you're a seasoned Dark Souls player, you know how to parry.
True, yeah.
I think all it is just as soon as it clicks, you're like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, I can't wait for it to click. It's gonna feel good.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I will do it at some point, and I'm sure I'll go for all achievements, but just didn't get around to it before this.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, those are all the questions I've got for you.
Thank you, ladies, gentlemen, everyone in between and beyond for sticking around. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you, John, once more for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for asking me to do this with you.
I really hope episode 33 ends up with you talking about a Souls-like. Because I feel like it's been a while since you had one to really report on.
That's true. Yeah, I don't know. I bounce off a lot of Souls-likes these days.
Uh-oh. Huh.
It's hard after Elden Ring, you know?
Yeah.
It was okay when all there was Dark Souls 1 and 2. Yeah, after Elden Ring, it's really hard to get too into games.
That's fair. That's fair. But we will continue with the trend of the Souls-likes for every 3 episodes until I run out of Souls-like I can talk about, or something happens.
Fair.
Alright, well, once again, thank you everyone for being here. We'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.
Bye.